Hello everyone, I am Rana. Welcome to ThinkrGuide. Today's episode is going to be really special and unique as we are going to talk about the skill set which is highly in demand, and that is public speaking, where you will learn how to express yourself, your ideas, how to communicate your work in boardrooms, and how to do networking, and much more. Without further ado, let's introduce today's guest. Joining us today is Surya. He is Assistant Vice President and Senior Software QA Engineer at Deutsche Bank, based in Berlin, Germany. He is a seasoned public speaker who has delivered international conference talks, including a speech in Vilnius, Lithuania in 2024. He is the winner of the Toastmasters Division Contest 2025 in Germany and an active Toastmaster member. Deeply passionate about public speaking and soft skill training, beyond his professional journey, Surya is also a creative soul who has explored open mic stand up comedy. Very warm welcome, Surya. I'm really glad you are here with us today. You're an amazing speaker and a humble person. I have witnessed your speeches, and it's really inspiring, your storytelling and the message. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Welcome. Hi, Surya. I'm really glad you could join us today. It's going to be a special episode as this is going to be a first episode on Thinker Guide in 2026. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. Thank you and welcome.
Thanks a lot, Rana, for having me here. And whoever is watching this video, thanks for watching as well. And I hope this interview turns out to be a nice conversation today.
Wow. Yeah. So, Surya, if I can start with the first question,
Hmm.
we would love to know about your journey, as in you're from IT background, right? So, what motivated you to become a public speaker, and how did you learn those skill sets?
Okay, so I have to say this, which happened almost 15 or 20 years ago, even before I joined in the IT industry, which is when I was in the college days. I was around
Mm-hmm.
17 or 16. If I'm not wrong, I would be at the age of 17. My college professor told me that Surya, you would never ever find a single person in your life who is extremely good in communication skill but did not get the success they want in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost 15 years or 16 years from now, and till now I haven't found a single person in my life who is extremely good in communication skill but did not get the somehow these people who are really good in communication, they were able to get the job they want, they were able to get the money they want, they were able to get the relationship they want, they were able to get the promotion they want, they were able to get the life they want. So he said this at the age of 17, and that maybe that must be the starting point in my life. Okay, there is a easiest way to actually, it's not an easiest way, but still there is a simple way to actually be better in life if you speak really well, irrespective of your talent, irrespective of your skill. If you have a good communication skill, that will be easy for you to grow up in the ladder. And that could be the starting point in my life. I think I answered your question
Yes,
on this.
yes.
Yeah.
So nice, so nice. So, Surya, let's begin with our real questions.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so what is storytelling and why it is important? If you can tell us about, how you use storytelling in professional settings, and what are the tips to for like effective storytelling?
I thought it's a simple question, but you asked me a lot of questions. But
Yeah.
anyway, so the point is like my theory is that stories are nothing but it creates emotions in human mind. If you see any advertisement, you can split any advertisement into two parts. The one is the factual information. Some advertisements they simply show what is the product about and what it sells, and that's it. And there are some other advertisements which creates emotions. If you buy this
Mm.
car, it makes you proud, or if you buy this dress, it gives you some kind of a satisfaction. They try to sell the human emotions, which is nothing but a storytelling. All the advertisements we watch right now, the successful advertisements which sells the products easily, or any Netflix movie you watch, any Amazon series you watch, any fictional book you read, everything is nothing but a
Yeah.
story. And if you are a great storyteller, you'll be hugely successful in life. That's why all the politicians, successful politicians in the world, they actually try to say the stories in a proper way.
Mm.
If you really want to connect with the people instantly, then you start with a story, and stories are nothing but you connect with the emotions of the human being. And
Mm.
so, to answer your other questions, like how to tell a story, the simplest way to say that is don't tell the story, relive the story.
Wow.
So if you relive this, if we all had done this, we all have done this at some point in our life. If you had a terrible day in your life, if you have some painful moments in your life, or if you have some successful moments in your life, if you have to say the story to your friend, you won't tell the story. Instead, you relive the story. You know what happened last
Mm.
week? There was a guy who was knocking my door, and I don't know what happened to what to do on that time. So you try to relive the entire story with a lot of emotions,
Wow.
and the audience will be easily connected. Either the audience would be your friend or a group of people you are speaking in front of the public. So the fastest way to be really good in storytelling is don't tell the stories, just relive the stories.
That's so nice. That's really because usually when we ask this kind of question to people, they say like storytelling has so many things, so many format and everything. It's just understanding of it. If you
Yeah.
understand those emotion, how to express in front of people, you know your audience, right?
Bingo, bingo. So when you relive the story, it makes the audience feel like, wow, actually, I'm seeing the entire screen, entire scene on my brain by the way she expresses the story, by
Right.
the way she says the story. So that is how the storytelling has to be said, in my opinion.
Nice, nice, nice. So, Surya, next question would be like when presenting work, what should be the ideal flow? If I talk about like in office scenario,
Hmm.
like what is the structure when you present the work?
There is
If
only
you can
one
give any
universal.
example.
Yeah, there is only one simplest structure in the world. I
Mhm.
recently I did a workshop in a Toastmasters club, and I was talking about the multiple speech structure and the first structure, which is the universal structure in the world, and it has been actually I think it was actually proposed by this man called Dale Carnegie. I'm not 100% sure whether this
Okay.
belongs to Dale Carnegie, but I heard somewhere that this structure was proposed by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie is the man who wrote the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. Do you know that?
Mm. No, no.
Okay, so it was a popular book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this man actually created a public speaking school back in
Mm-hmm.
1930s, 1920s. And I guess Warren Buffett was one of the students in that particular institution. And this Dale Carnegie School of Teaching says the easiest
Mm-hmm.
structure in the world, which is tell them what you're going to
Mm-hmm.
tell them, and tell them what you told them. The simplest structure in the world. Today we're going to talk about these things, and then you talk about those things, and then you say like today we spoke about these things. Tell them what you
Mm.
tell them, and tell them what you told them. So the simplest, the fail proof. Any how do you say, if you're talking to your colleagues, if you have to present some ideas to your boss or to your manager, then this is the simplest structure in the world. And whenever you do this, people always love it because they know the first 10 seconds when you tell them what you're going to tell them, they understand the entire scope of your presentation, what you're going to talk about today, and they will get the idea. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the public speaking, today I'm going to talk about the storytelling. So I got the idea. Now I'll be listening about what is in the public speaking, what is in the storytelling, and then finally you tell them what you told them, which is like today we spoke about public speaking and storytelling. So it gives a full boundary so that the listener can understand, okay, this is what the entire structure is all about, and they will able to remember it. And this is only for the colleagues where you have to give a presentation among your colleagues. But there is another
Mm-hmm.
structure, which is if you have to give a presentation to as a sales guy, if you have to give a presentation to a client, or if you have to give a presentation to somebody else, where you have to pitch your idea, then there is a different structure which is called as problem, cause, and solution. This is also a simplest
Mm-hmm.
structure in the world, where you first tell the problem, like what is the existing problem right now, and what is the
Mm-hmm.
cause for the problem, and then what is the solution you bring. What is the your product, the product what you're trying to sell will
Mm-hmm.
solve the problem, because it finds the root cause, and you solve the root cause and the problem. So this is all about the simple two structure. This is what I would say. The first structure is the simplest structure among your colleagues, and the second one is for any clients if you have to pitch your idea.
Wow, that's amazing, It's like, okay, if I say this thing, suppose if I have to give any speech, right? If
Hmm.
I can understand that speech by myself, it's like telling myself if I can understand. So I think your first one that can work here, right?
Yeah, yeah,
First
yeah.
example.
Yeah, and but there are many other structure. Like if you're giving a speech in front of the random crowd, then there are different structures. But in the
Hmm.
office environment, if you work in as I think your question is about the workplace, right?
In work,
So
yes, yes.
if you're giving a presentation, if you're explaining your project to your colleagues, then you just
Hmm.
use these one of these two techniques, especially the first one, and it
Hmm.
makes wonders, I would say. Yeah.
Wow. Which is, what are the benefits of understanding your audience? Like, how does this help when presenting in office meeting?
Okay.
I have
Let
something to
me.
say, but once you finish, then I will say.
But yeah, you can go ahead. It's okay. I just want this interview to be a conversation because I don't know everything. You are also a good expert in communication, so I want your input as well.
No, no, I'm not. I am learning from you here.
Yeah. So tell me,
Okay,
you say.
so I'll go first. Okay, so my understanding is in some situation when it is important in workplace, if I say, like I know where I'm going. Suppose in a boardroom, there will be CEO, there will be CFO, right? And if I know that okay, this is the idea I'm going to present, how would be the CEO will think? Like
Mm,
he will be interested in business, marketing,
mm,
right? And
yeah.
the CFO will be more interested in ROI. So
Yeah.
I had to pitch my idea according to their understanding, like what they're exactly expecting from me, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think about it? Is it the right
So
approach?
exactly, the 100%. So I think Albert Einstein said this, where he said, if you don't explain a concept to a 6-year-old child, you yourself don't know the concept really well.
Right, right.
So let's say, for example, let me try to give a different example. Let's say I'm a rocket scientist and I have to explain my concept to you. You are also a rocket scientist. Let's say an example. In this
Hmm.
case, I can talk in the technical terms which you can easily understand.
Right.
However, let's say I'm a rocket scientist and I have to explain my rocket scientist concept to a 15-year-old girl, Rana, who
Hmm.
is not a rocket scientist. She is just a
Right.
school kid. In this case, how would I explain? I have to save the story. I have to say with a lot
Right.
of things which she can understand in her perspective. I have to
Right.
when I try to say this, I have to give example like some cartoon examples so that 15-year-old Rana can understand this concept. So this is where knowing your audience come from. So to come back to your example, in your example, you said that you have to give a speech to CEOs and CFOs, and those people
Hmm.
they may not understand all the technical terms, they may not understand
Right.
all the nook and corner. Instead, you have to say this in
Hmm.
such a way that how they can understand, and the more they are easily able to understand, they will take their decision better. And there are
Right.
many times where I had given a speech in my previous companies back in India, where my
Hmm.
boss will come and say, like, I don't know anything about this project, but after I listen to your presentation, I'm able to understand something what's going on inside. I'm able to
Hmm.
understand what is the problem and why it took a lot of time to actually finish this project. So thanks for that. They come and talk to me and say like, thanks for this, because we are able to understand, and that is why it's always better to understand your audience first, like how they think and how they see, and how you have to convert your topic in such a way that they can get it, they can understand it. And how do you say this? By using metaphors. by using similes,
Mm-hmm.
like by
Mm-hmm.
giving lot of examples. In a simple example, even if a rocket science can be explained in the simple examples, then you can easily convert any complex topic into simple examples, and also you can say a lot of stories so that they can easily understand the concept in an easier way.
Wow. So I have another question in the similar content, which is like, suppose we have diverse audience. So do we
Mm.
need to give more examples because we don't know how they are going to perceive, like different people from different backgrounds?
So this is where, once again, I want to go back to the Einstein equation. When you are able to explain a concept to a 6-year-old child,
Right.
anybody in the world can easily understand that. Either it's a
Hmm.
6-year-old or
So it has to be very
60-year-old.
simple.
Very, very simple.
Hmm.
I used to you have to use. People say like if you use a complex vocabulary, it makes you be a good speaker. But in my opinion,
Hmm.
it's not true. You have to use the simplest
Yeah.
words, easiest words, so that anybody can easily understand. Some scholars, some great people, they think like it's so simple. We are not Shakespeare, We don't need to be a Shakespeare.
Right.
We just need to use the
Right.
simplest English, simplest words to make the
Right.
audience understand. So if you're able to, if whenever you give a speech, just make sure that a 6-year-old child can understand it. If he or
Hmm.
she can understand it, anybody can easily understand it.
Anybody can. Yeah.
Anybody,
Okay.
easily.
Well said. Yeah. Well said. So moving on to our next question, which is, what are the key techniques to hold audience attention during presentations?
Hmm. Maybe I'll ask you this question. So, does anybody know, um, how do I say, like all the audience, in my opinion,
Mhm,
they want to listen a good speech or good presentation. That's the main reason why they are coming here. And the only challenge for any speaker is to gain the attention of the audience. Especially in today's world,
mhm.
the attention is human beings' attention is greatly reduced after
Very
the
less. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
less, because we are in the Instagram
Right.
generation, we are in the TikTok generation, where Gen Alphas, I read somewhere like Gen
True.
Alphas can easily lose their attention just like that.
Right.
The fastest
Right.
way to gain their attention is to create curiosity in your speech.
Mm.
You think about any thriller movie or thriller fiction, the main reason
Mhm,
why thriller movies and crime fiction selling really well is mainly because they
mm,
try to create a curiosity in the story. And how to create a curiosity in your speech? By telling stories, and also
mhm,
by making a lot of jokes, by adding humor, and also by
mhm.
asking questions.
Right.
Asking questions is not about you ask a question randomly among the audience and get the answer from them. Asking question is like there is a term called as hypophora. Have you heard about this, Rana? Okay, hypophora is a way of communication where, what is hypophora? Hypophora is like a way of communication where you ask a question and then you yourself answer the question immediately.
Mm,
Just like few seconds ago, I asked the question, "What is hypophora?" And then I immediately
mm,
answered the question by myself without waiting for you to
mhm.
answer. So
Okay.
this is also a powerful technique which I found in public speaking, where when you ask a question, immediately it alerts all the audience brain. Okay, there is a question. Do I know the answer?
Mm,
No. At the same time, I'm not forcing you to give me a random answer. Instead, I immediately answer the question by myself
mhm,
so that you now
mhm,
get the answer immediately from me without too much of stress on your brain.
mm.
I don't know whether I explained this properly, but hypophora is a powerful technique where you ask the question to the audience and immediately you answer the question. This is one technique, and there is another one which is you actually ask the question and you make the audience to answer to create some curiosity, and then you
Mhm.
give the answer so that the audience can remember the answer very well. So these are all the different engagements. Like the audience,
Mhm.
what do you say? The audience attention span will be keep on reducing at some level. So whenever you think that their
Mm.
attention span is going down, you immediately ask a question so that their attention span will immediately go up. So it is a simple technique
Right.
where you have to do it. Yeah.
if I give you my real life example here, when
Yeah.
during my master's, because I know there was some submission after the 1 week, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that whoever is going to do it, it will be online. It was an online call, right? And I had to present something, and I know that everyone is so busy that they are not going. They will not like give any kind of attention to my presentation because everyone has a lot of pressure. But that was my time to present, right? So
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
did, I don't know, people really cursed me for that. What I did, I just told them in the beginning that I'm going to ask question from the presentation. I didn't
Mm.
ask any question at the end. I think that one of the thing you mentioned that was this, like when you already said this thing, so people pay more attention that you'd never know what will come, right?
Yeah. Adding another point, as I said earlier, asking questions is the first one, telling stories, and then adding a humor. When you tell a joke,
Mm.
when you tell a joke from the first 30 seconds, when you tell a joke, the audience
Mm-hmm.
somehow they enjoyed the joke. Let's say they enjoyed the joke. And then their brain will start thinking that, okay, this person who is talking right now is a comical speaker. Maybe he or
Mm.
she would say another joke in the next 5 minutes. Let's pay attention to
Okay.
them. And that's how their brain think. When you tell the first joke, the audience will keep on expecting the second joke, and they will keep on being more attentive. And that's why all the successful speakers, they all add some kind of a humor in their speeches.
Humor.
Even if it is a lame joke, even if it's a dad joke, even if it doesn't work, I always encourage
Mm.
the speakers to add more humor in your speech because it makes wonders.
Wow.
Yeah.
But for people like me who are not good with humor, what
You
should they
can
do?
do.
Like, I'm not very good with humor. So,
I doubt that. I know you a little bit personally, so you are a very good humorous person. The only thing is that we think the main reason is, how do I say? If I ask you the question, have you ever made anybody laugh in your personal life?
yeah, but like people
You
are
answer the
close to
question.
me, not
You answer the
everyone.
question, which means that you know how to give a joke, you know how to make the people laugh. So you can easily do that. The only reason why we have stopped doing it is because we have a fear that the audience may not laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the point. So if you add one or two jokes in your speech, even if it doesn't work out, that's okay. But try to add as much humor as possible.
Hmm. So, how do you write effective speech or preparing like talking points when you are in like suppose you are attending particular event and you have to do networking, and you have
Hmm.
to present your ideas. So, like, what are the talking points you use when you interact with people?
Okay, are you asking me about the presentation slides or just a normal speech?
Normal,
Because
normal, normal,
normal
normal
one,
conversation. Like when you meet new people, like if I give you my example so that you know what I'm trying to ask. So when I'm at some place where I have to do networking, so for me it's important to ask genuine question first.
hmm,
Like what are their motivation to be there,
hmm,
like in that particular event, and
hmm,
if they like particular speech or if they like particular thing about the event. So it's
hmm.
like more like give and take. Then the conversation start on a very lighter note rather than forcing the conversation. People would feel more uncomfortable. So that's my understanding of it. What do you think
Hmm.
about it?
So you're asking about the small talks, if I'm not wrong. Or
Yes, small talks
okay,
mainly.
so there is one revelation I found in small talks, which is
Mhm.
whenever I'm gonna meet any new person or any stranger,
Mhm.
I keep on say this idea to myself, which is make them talk.
Hmm.
You don't talk, you make them talk. And there are some simplest questions I always ask them to make them talk. The first question would be, let's say, for example, I ask this question to Rana here.
Mhm.
So, Rana, what is the one topic you would talk about at any time in your life and you won't get bored about talking this topic at all? You will never get bored on talking this topic. What is the topic?
I think that would be two topics.
Okay, tell me that.
One is spirituality and the other one is art. Yeah,
Spirituality.
spirituality and art.
Wow,
These are like my favorite topics.
what makes you to do this? Like what was the reason? Because I am not good in spirituality. Tell me more about that spirituality thing.
Okay, now I got your
So,
point.
so this is what, like, when I try to actually made my life even more simpler, because the people always wanted to talk, especially the people inherently they want to be heard.
Hmm.
That is the most important thing than anything else. Every human beings want to be heard because they have a lot of things to say. But in an event, if I meet a random stranger, if I say like, "Hey, where are you from? How long you are living here?" If I ask this basic question, you are just one among those random strangers they met in their life.
Right,
However, when you talk to them in such a way that they love to talk to you about the topics they are interested in, then
right,
they will see you as one of their closest friends, and they will try to speak from their heart, because somebody somehow they found a person who is ready to listen to them. And
right.
this is the simplest technique. Like, always I tell myself, like, make them talk, make them talk, make them talk. And once in a while, if I talk to them and if I ask this question, like, what is their favorite topic, and sometimes they will tell a favorite topic which matches with mine. Sometimes, for
Hmm.
example, if anybody talks about public speaking as their favorite topic, or if anybody talks about reading books as their favorite topic,
Hmm.
and these are all my favorite topics as well. So
Yeah.
now it's going to be a huge amount of synergy that's going to happen. I'm going to talk about a lot of things I know about public speaking and book reading, and they're going to talk about this. So it's going to be a huge match. At the same time, there are some times which they talk about certain topics which I don't know. So in that case, I'll be more
Mhm.
curious about knowing that. So that is the
Right.
best, easiest way to improve the small talk among any human being, I would say.
That's really nice because I found it initially when I started doing networking. I was really bad at it. I'm still working on it because I used to be the introvert. So it takes time to open up, and when you don't know what kind of conversation you can have, like especially I'm the kind of person who find it really difficult to have small conversation. So it's
Hmm.
really difficult again to begin with very light talk, But this kind of approach, it's really interesting because that gives you more space to know about the other person as well.
Adding
And
one
they
more
will
point,
make it more, yeah.
Adding one more point,
Please
Rana, there
continue.
is a new term which I found on the internet. I don't know who actually said this idea, which is like inverse charisma. Have you heard about this topic, inverse charisma?
Oh.
Because in order to
Like you
attract,
mentioned so many things today, and I'm saying no
I'm
only.
sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, so inverse
That's
charisma
okay.
is
That's okay. I'm learning.
the one where charisma. We all know that if you enter into a room, you have to be more confident. You shake them
Hmm.
with your firm hand. You try to say a lot of jokes. You have to
Hmm.
make them laugh. You have to make them feel you. But inverse charisma is exactly opposite. You just make them talk, and you make them feel charismatic. And when you
Hmm.
make them feel charismatic, they suddenly start trusting you, they suddenly start liking you, and they started having some kind of a collaboration with you in the long run. And I used to think like I have to be very charismatic in the past. But now I feel like I have to make, how can I make the other person feel more charismatic? This is the thing that goes on
Yeah.
my mind whenever I meet any stranger or whenever I have to
Hmm.
converse with any person. So yeah, that adds your point as well. When you make them talk,
Yeah.
obviously they will feel good. They feel special.
Yeah. And one more thing I can add here,
Yeah,
because
sure.
the way you are saying it's keep going on in my head, other things as well, which is like suppose if I am entering any room, right?
Hmm.
For me, it's important to be in my skin, the
Yeah,
way I am. I'm not
yeah,
saying the real authentic me, which is like I am particularly in my home. I'm not going to show that because that is your inner space, right? That takes
yeah, yeah.
time to open up with people who are close to you. But for professional or certain those situations when you are in a networking place, so I think the more not authentic, but the real you, like
Hmm.
what you like, what you don't like, you don't need to do overboard because I
Hmm.
think the people who really likes you, those are your real people. And people
Yeah,
who don't like you, those are not your people. They will
obviously. Yeah,
anyway leave,
yeah, exactly.
right? So
So
be you. So yeah,
yeah,
it's really
that's a good
nice.
point
Yeah.
as well. Being you, being authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing you already mentioned, which is listening. Now we
Mm.
have the communication, which is remaining with empathy. Like, what is the value
Mm.
of empathy in communication?
Um, Recently, I read a book which is called as "Never Split the Difference." And
Okay.
I don't know, people may who are watching this video, they may some of them may might have read this book, which is actually a popular
Hmm.
book. This book actually written by a guy who was an FBI negotiator. He has to talk with the
Hmm.
terrorist. He has to talk with the people who kidnap hostages, and he has to negotiate with them, and he to rescue those hostages. Yeah,
Okay.
and he was talking about the people who are actually what is that who are arrested, who took hostages in the bank, who took hostages in some different countries. So he was talking about a lot of interesting incidents that happened in his life and how he was able to talk with all those antisocial elements. And the number one thing he said
Um,
was empathy. Like
hmm.
when you talk to them, when you actually speak to them in a tactical empathy, he mentioned this word called as tactical empathy, where you have to make you have to make them understand that you empathize with them, even if they are terrorists, even if they are something bad, even if they make something really bad to the society. You still have to talk in such a way that you should not get any judgmental view towards them. Instead, you have to talk to them in a way that you have to speak in such a way that you understand them first. Never poke their
Hmm.
ego, because if you poke their ego, if you say that they are wrong, they may cause harm to the hostages. So
Right.
he was
Right.
talking about how empathy was really helpful to make the other person feel good. At the same time, first you show the empathy so that they will start trusting you and they will start listening to you, and
Hmm.
you can actually now negotiate. And this comes from an FBI
Okay.
negotiator, not a
Wow.
normal business deal guy. He was a guy who was talking to a lot of antisocial elements, and he was the one who was talking about the empathy. So, which makes me realize that okay, so if a terrorist can change their mindset by having an empathy, how come it is not? How come it cannot be helpful in the normal life? Because anybody who can have empathy can actually make another person also feel good. At the same time, we can use this empathy for the harmony of the society.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with you because it's like putting yourself in another person's shoe to understand them first without judging them and then decide like if you, I mean, what kind of person they are rather than just look at them or whatever they are doing. It's like there
exactly.
are people who do bad deeds, but at the same time, they are really good people. It's just their
Yeah,
situation, their surrounding pressurize them to do that. Sometimes it
yeah.
happens also.
Uh, just
So that's
because
really
I'm
interesting you mentioned.
just because we are talking about this doesn't mean that we are really Buddhas. We are also sometimes we
Yeah.
lose the empathy. Exactly.
No, it's
Like
just life learning, I guess.
exactly. So even sometimes I realized that maybe I should have been more empathetic to the person whom I shouted a few days ago, or maybe I should have listened to them. I shouldn't have argued with them. Instead, because when you are in argument, you somehow lose the connection with your empathic
Yeah,
side.
lose your mind.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you lose your mind. But at least after 2 days or 3 days, when you realize that you should have been more empathizing with the person, go back to them and say like, "Hey, the other day we had an argument, and I
Yes.
said this, and you said that, and but I said this word. Maybe it was hurtful for you, and let's." I wish I say this in a different way, something like that. You can use these kind of words to make the other person understand that. And yeah, so empathy doesn't need to come on the spot. Sometimes it's really difficult for human beings to be empathized 24/7. But when you realize that you lose the empathy,
True.
just lose your ego and go back to the person and say this like, hey, the other day it happened like this. Let's not do that again. So yeah,
Yeah. So that is the question, which is like you have to surrender your ego to do that.
exactly. So when you have high amount of ego, you cannot
Then you
have
cannot
love.
do it. Then
Exactly. You
sorry
cannot
will be
have
the problem for you.
exactly. You cannot have love. You cannot have empathy. You cannot have any other
Correct,
good
correct.
emotions. You when you have high amount of ego. So yeah,
Wow. It's so nice, Surya. So this is our last question, which is one piece of advice you would give about the most important skill, regardless of profession, like for like a presenter, you need to learn, like one advice.
Okay. I genuinely believe that everybody is a born speaker. Everybody is a born public speaker.
Okay.
If people don't believe in this, let me ask them the question. When we were all kids, how many times we cried in public when we were all children? We
Mm.
cry in front of other people when we were all children. No matter whether we are in the train or in a bus or in any place, if we want something, we want to communicate with the world, we will easily cry. We can cry louder, as loud as possible.
Mm.
Even before we know how to talk, we knew how to communicate in the world in a loud, clear way. So, in my
Right.
opinion, in my belief, I firmly believe that everybody is a born communicator. As we get older and older, we somehow suppress this public speaker inside of us, and we try to,
Mm-hmm.
find a reason for not being a public speaker. But generally speaking, everybody is a born public speaker. All we have to do is just to make the public speaker come out and give a speech or communicate with the world in a proper to make it even more proper place. So that's the thing. Everybody is a born public speaker. That is the one thing I want to say to the people who are listening to this.
You can say that you're really good with public
Oh,
speaking.
well,
I
thank
saw
you.
your, like, I witnessed all those things, so I know you're really good.
I take it as
And
a
thank you,
compliment,
Surya.
Rana. Thanks. I take it as a
Yes, yes,
compliment, and
it
thanks a lot for
is.
this. I hope it's not sarcasm, but
Welcome.
still, and thank you for that.
No, this is not sarcasm. I'm telling you, I still remember we were in Toastmasters, people who don't know about us. That's how we know each other, and you're really good person. And that's why we're friends also. So I know this thing when we were in Toastmaster, when I first time I saw you and the way you started your speech. Do you remember what was the name of that actor?
Tom
Your
Cruise.
favorite Tom Cruise. My goodness, I have heard that speech three times during that speech. I mean, those contests. It was amazing. Every time it was hilarious, and the emotion flow in that speech that was really great. There's so many
Thanks a
things which
lot.
I learned during that time from you. So thank you so much, Surya. I hope this today's conversation helps young minds or everyone who is watching us today. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, and you are a great presenter and a good friend of mine, and no doubt you're also a great speaker. I have listened to your speeches
Thank
as
you.
much as possible. I was little disappointed that you're not in Berlin, but still, we are connected anyhow. So, thanks a lot for having me here, and I wish you all the best for your future podcast interviews as well, on whatever the future
Thank you,
endeavors
Surya.
you have.
Thank you for your thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Thanks.